Throughout more than 2 centuries of existence, the United States has produced dozens of presidents, each carrying a unique imprint within the vast flow of history. Some left behind only a few faint notes, while others became emblematic figures whose names are forever tied to the nation's defining moments. Interestingly, amid countless periods of upheaval, from the War of Independence, the Civil War, and economic depressions to the era of asserting superpower status, there remains one question that has never been answered definitively. Who truly are the greatest presidents of the United States? Leading historians, respected scholars, and generations of citizens have all attempted to create their own lists. Strangely, despite differing perspectives, a select group of individuals consistently appears at the top, as if history itself silently acknowledges their extraordinary stature. These were people who faced unimaginable crises, who made decisions capable of altering the destiny of a nation, even the course of the world. But who are they? What made them? What made them remembered so enduringly? And why, among dozens of presidents, are only a few considered great? George Washington. George Washington, 1732 to 1799, honored as the father of the nation, served as President of the United States from 1789 to 1797, and became the central figure in shaping the early foundations of the newly independent country. He stepped onto the stage of history as the 13 North American colonies had just emerged from a long war with the British Empire, one of the most powerful empires in the world at the time. Although victory had been achieved, the young nation still faced countless problems: a weakened economy, a loose government structure, deep conflicts among the states, and a population that had yet to fully trust the new national model. Washington was not only the general who successfully led the revolution, but also a symbol of trust and moral authority, the person whom the entire people looked to for leading America into a period of stability. When he assumed the role of the first president, Washington established nearly the entire operational framework for the federal government. He formed the cabinet, defined the role of the Supreme Court, set administrative standards, and built a presidential leadership style that became a model for future generations. During a time when Europe was continuously embroiled in conflict, Washington maintained a steadfast policy of neutrality, refusing to be drawn into the wars between Britain and France, giving the United States time to strengthen its internal foundations and develop its economy. What made Washington exceptionally great was his attitude toward power. At a time when he was held in absolute reverence by the people, he refused a third term and voluntarily stepped down, creating an important precedent for American democracy. His restraint in exercising power laid the foundation for the Republican spirit and helped the United States avoid the risk of falling into dictatorship. Washington's legacy is recognized not only through the institutions he built, but also through his character and integrity, which have served as a moral standard for national leadership for more than 2 centuries. Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, 1809 to 1865, the 16th President of the United States, led the country from 1861 to 1865 during the bloodiest Civil War in American history. When Lincoln was elected, the United States was deeply divided due to conflicts between the North and the South related to slavery, economic models, and state authority. The decision of 11 Southern states to secede and form the Confederacy pushed the nation into total war. Lincoln, who came from a humble background and lacked formal military training, faced one of the most difficult tasks of all: saving the Union from collapse. In his role as a wartime president, Lincoln demonstrated exceptional leadership, remaining steadfast in his goal of preserving national unity. He sought out and empowered talented generals such as Ulysses S. Grant and William T. Sherman, while developing a comprehensive strategy that allowed the Northern Army to gain the upper hand. In 1863, he issued the Emancipation Proclamation, a decision that had a profound impact not only on the war, but also on the global human rights movement. This document transformed the Civil War from a political conflict into a war for freedom, preventing European powers from recognizing the Confederate government. As the war entered its final stages, Lincoln continually called for national reconciliation, emphasizing that there should be no malice toward anyone. But he did not live to see the full results of his efforts, as he was assassinated in April 1865, shortly after the South surrendered. Despite his sudden death, Lincoln's legacy remains immense. The preservation of the United States, the abolition of slavery, and the moral foundation for modern American society. Many scholars consider him the greatest president of all time due to his decisive contributions to the nation's survival and development. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, 1882 to 1945, the 32nd President of the United States, served from 1933 until his death in 1945. He is the only president in American history to be elected to 4 consecutive terms, reflecting the absolute trust the people placed in him during the most difficult moments of the 20th century. Roosevelt took office as the United States was sinking into the Great Depression. Banks were closing en masse, tens of millions were unemployed, businesses were going bankrupt, and public confidence in the government had nearly collapsed. Not only did he face domestic crisis, but he also witnessed the rise of fascism in Europe and militarism in Asia, threats that could plunge the world into war. Roosevelt launched the New Deal, a series of revolutionary economic and social reforms aimed at restoring the economy and helping citizens overcome hardship. Public works projects, deposit insurance mechanisms, the Social Security system, and job creation programs brought new hope to the American people. After Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, Roosevelt shifted his focus to the war. He transformed the United States into the arsenal of democracy, mobilizing national resources at an unprecedented level, supporting the Allies against fascism, and laying the foundation for the eventual Allied victory. Not only a wartime leader, Roosevelt also helped shape the post-war world order. He was a key architect in the creation of the United Nations and in establishing the United States' global leadership role. Although he died before the war ended, FDR is regarded as one of the most influential presidents in U.S. history. He not only saved the nation from the Great Depression, but also helped shape the modern democratic world, in which the United States holds a central role. Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, 1743 to 1826, the third President of the United States, served from 1801 to 1809, and is regarded as the architect of American political thought and one of the most outstanding leaders of the nation's early period. Before becoming president, Jefferson was renowned as the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, the document that established the core values of American democracy: equality, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. His ideas were strongly influenced by Enlightenment philosophy and became the guiding principles for the development of the new nation. When he assumed office, Jefferson led the country during a relatively stable era, but one filled with challenges in foreign relations and territorial expansion. One of his greatest achievements was the Louisiana Purchase in 1803 from the French Empire, which doubled the size of the United States and paved the way for westward expansion. This decision was not only strategic, but also helped affirm the United States' role as an emerging power. Jefferson also focused on building a lean government, reducing federal spending, and promoting economic freedom in line with his political philosophy. Beyond politics, Jefferson was a distinguished scholar, scientist, architect, and educator. He founded the University of Virginia, one of the first secular higher education institutions in the United States. Jefferson's contributions across multiple fields demonstrate that he was not only a political thinker of great depth, but also a leader with broad cultural, educational, and scientific influence. His legacy lies in the enduring ideological values that the United States continues to uphold today. Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt, 1858 to 1919, the 26th President of the United States, served from 1901 to 1909 and is remembered as the leader who ushered the United States into the era of a modern great power. Emerging onto the political stage when America was rapidly industrializing but dominated by monopolistic corporations, Roosevelt became a symbol of the progressive reform movement aimed at protecting citizens' rights and creating a transparent business environment. His determination earned him the title of Trustbuster, as he used the law to limit the power of giant corporations and promote economic fairness. In foreign affairs, Roosevelt pursued a strategy to expand America's global influence. He championed the construction of the Panama Canal, a strategic project that enabled the United States to control trade between the two oceans. Under his leadership, the U.S. Navy was modernized and showcased its strength through the Great White Fleet, affirming America's status as a formidable military power. Roosevelt was also renowned for mediating the end of the Russo-Japanese War, making him the first American to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. Additionally, Roosevelt was one of the most forward-thinking presidents in terms of nature conservation. He established hundreds of forests, reserves, and national parks, laying the foundation for the environmental conservation movement in the United States. Theodore Roosevelt's legacy is reflected in the unique combination of domestic reform, expansion of foreign influence, and environmental protection, three areas that profoundly shaped America's development in the 20th century.